Hey, hello again. Welcome back, everyone. Liquor Hound with you. Thank you for joining me for part 2 of this Ultra-Premium Vodka Showdown. Again, this is a very special video. My first real tasting and nosing for y'all. I hope y'all enjoy it. But let's go ahead and get to it. The one thing I did do off camera is I went ahead and cracked them all open. Really a good thing because Beluga was a pain. That hard burgundy wax that they had up here, second I start untwisting that little wire tie that I had, it just starts going everywhere. Little microscopic little pieces, it was a mess. Instead of that little hammer and little brush they give you, I just sent a vacuum with this thing. It's ridiculous. But everybody else went very smoothly. I was surprised on the Kaufman. You know, again, I think just plastic, nothing fancy there. But again, I wasn't really expecting the twist off with the pour cap. But you know, I kind of should have remembered actually that with Russian vodkas right now, with the counterfeits they're having going on with their problem, it's probably a good sign that you know you're getting the real thing, because those are pretty much impossible to fill up. So the Russian mafia is out of luck on that one. The Exchange, nothing fancy. Again, twist cap, only $30 a bottle, maybe $40 if you have to have it shipped. Fantastic spirit that's inside there. I'm really curious to see how both the Exchange and the Stolichnaya Elite is going to compete with these three massive players in the game. So let's go ahead and get going on the nosing. I've got my little notebook. I'm going to take a few notes. You're always going to need distilled water and a cracker or two in case you need it. Hopefully I won't. I'm going to try and go kind of fast so I don't burn out my palate. But let's get to the nosing on the Exchange. The Exchange is really nice. It's a good, clean, straightforward vodka. Very low on alcohol. It's almost undetectable. Nice, sweet, very faint floral to it, but like I said, other than that, really nice, straightforward, clean, pure vodka. Kaufman, private collection, let's see. Very low alcohol as well, so I do enjoy that. When you dig a little deeper, you get a almost like a vanilla custard in there. So, you know, think creme brulee, so like caramelized sugars. I do get that in there. So it has a little more sweetness on the nose than the Exchange. HDW Clicks. This is the one that's using corn, rye, malted barley, and wheat in the mash bill. 159 time distillation. Wow, very nice. Again, sweet corn is what I'm getting. So when you look at Buffalo Trace, they released a white dog, I think it was last year or the year before last, little bitty small samples of basically what the beginning of all their bourbons start with. That aroma that you get from that is in this one. It's that sweet corn base. But never mind the base, when you get past that, it gets really sweet again. Very light. What is that? Very light floral again. I'm really curious to see how this is gonna taste, because it's not like any other vodka that I've ever experienced on the nose. Beluga Goldline. This is everyone's leader. Let's see how it goes. This one. Low alcohol, maybe just a touch more than these three. Not really getting too much on the nose. It smells pretty clean, pretty pure. Not getting as much sweetness as I got on the previous three. Stolichnaya Elite. Has a little bit of citrus to it. Hint of sweetness, and again, not as much. So I'd almost say it's on the sweet level. These two are the top dogs as far as the nose of the sweetness, followed by the Exchange, and Stolichnaya and Beluga are pretty close on that level. As far as alcohol in the nose, pretty much the same thing. These three are very, very low. These two are low, but just a little higher than these. So that's how it goes on the nose. Let's get to the tasting. I'm actually going to start with the Exchange, my control. Again, the first entry into the mouth is not the one you really want to be testing. You always want to go with the second taste. Smooth, mild heat, just on the beginning. Alcohol arrives towards the finish, and that you still get that real silky smooth, that slightly oily texture that I love in the Exchange. Very clean, very pure. One thing we also have to keep in mind as I'm tasting these is the reason I'm tasting them at room temperature. I like to do that for all spirits when I'm doing tasting, nosings, because as one time I heard, it's kind of like apple pie. You don't want to pull an apple pie out of the freezer. It's just not going to give off the same notes, the same aromas. You want to catch it when it's warm out of the oven. So I do the same thing with my spirits. Catch them room temperature, see what they're about. You're really going to catch the imperfections in them if you do it this way. Like I said, if I'm actually going to be drinking these, I might chill them. I don't know about these ultra premiums, but Stolichnaya Elite, the Exchange, man, throw them on ice. It's going to be great. But let's go ahead and get to the Kaufman on the taste. Very smooth. Very low alcohol. It does have a silky texture. As far as the actual flavors, there's not too much flavor to it. Maybe just a hint of like a fresh baked bread, maybe the yeast, I guess is what I'm getting there. And it does have like a minty back note to the whole thing throughout the finish. But overall, very nice. HDW clicks. One thing I wanted to show y'all was, of course, this is the one that comes with it. This is the little crystal decanter topper. I was expecting it to sit flush. It doesn't, but it's nice. Again, but if you're going to really be storing this on your shelves, go with the original. Again, it has that similar taste as the White Dog, but it's much, much more refined, granted. But you do get that sweet corn that you're smelling is also right there with the taste. Definitely getting vanilla cream in there just after the initial corn. Wow, some type of floral, almost minty, comes on at the finish. The alcohol also comes on about mid-palate, but it does taper nicely throughout the finish, so it's not overly strong. Beluga Goldline. Let's go ahead and see what this one's about. Very silky. Very clean. You did get the subtle notes of the malt, or maybe that rice extract that they add to it, because it does remind. It's very, like I said, it's silky. It reminds me of, it's very creamy. Perhaps the best mouthfeel so far. It's not a particularly clean and pure tasting vodka because of the flavor, but as far as sipping vodka, very, very nice. The heat actually comes on right towards the finish. It just kind of slowly builds. So the initial entry is very, very palatable, very nice. And then just the heat just slowly builds, never gets ferocious or anything, just very, very nice. Stolichnaya Elite. For about the first few seconds, let me try it again before I say this. As I'm moving it back and forth over my tongue before I swallow, for about the first few seconds, it reminds me a lot of Beluga. That creamy, silky texture. The main difference is the strength of the alcohol that comes on mid-palate. Comes on a little bit, well, comes on stronger than Beluga. And the heat on the tongue lasts throughout the finish. But as far as the actual flavors of it, very clean. Maybe just a hint of citrus. But that's a good vodka. That's a good vodka for the price. Wow. So let's go ahead and get to, let's tally them up. Didn't notice a lot of sweetness on that one either. So I would almost say, it's close. This is going to be preliminary. We're going to have to retaste this really quickly one last time. And I guess Stolichnya's got to drop back just a little bit. So this is the initial, I would say, first Beluga, then Kaufman. Then it's a two-way tie here. Two different types of vodkas here. They're totally different, but I'm kind of going on just overall appeal in my palate, to my palate. And Stolichnaya being towards the back. Not saying that it's bad. It's by no means a bad vodka. So let's go ahead and retaste one more time. I'm going to go kind of quickly again. Man, that's such a lovely vodka. Very light. That's the thing about that one. It's just so light. Very subtle sweetness. Good mouthfeel. Slightly oily. Just a good, well-rounded vodka. Clicks. Full of flavor, but it's just that really, really unique flavor. That's the only thing that it kind of keeps me going back to that corn mash. While it's very good, and the alcohol burn is very low, it's just that corn that keeps me from putting that any higher than here for about right now. Let's go ahead and go to Beluga. Oh, yeah. Beluga and Kaufman, very comparable. I would probably almost go Kaufman just ahead of Beluga, simply because the Beluga has a little more heat that comes on mid-palate, a lot stronger than Kaufman. Kaufman's just so light, well-rounded, well-balanced. And lastly, Stolichnaya one last time. Yeah. It's got to fall to the back. Just because of the amount of the heat, mainly. So overall, first place, Kaufman Private Collection. It's the best vodka I've had here today. It's probably the best vodka I've had to date. Second place would be Beluga Goldline. Not by much. Now keep in mind, don't get offended if this is your favorite vodka. It is a tremendous vodka. It was really hard to pick between the two. I just really like the light, crisp, clean, soft vodka that Kaufman was producing here. Third place, The Exchange, $30 bottle. Oh my goodness. It is not that far behind Beluga. If you're a Beluga drinker, you really ought to try The Exchange. You're going to be really surprised at how well that vodka is for $30. Clicks, fourth place. Sad to say, just because of the unique flavors that it has. It's just not, to me, it's just a little too far out there for a vodka, in my opinion. And last but not least, Stolichnaya Elite. And that's where we have them ranked. Again, let's do price point. Your first place winner, $250. Second place, $150. Third place, $30. Fourth place, $300. And fifth place, Stolichnaya Elite, $65, $70. That's it for this taste-off. Hopefully y'all get a chance to taste these. Again, I hope I saved you some money here. And thank you for watching my videos. I really, really appreciate it. Y'all have a good evening. Take care. And as always, cheers.